The PFL, which is another like major organization in MMA, they did something that I haven't seen another organization do. They suspended 2 of their fighters during their playoffs in this tournament to win $1 million because they were boring. I think there was like a Russian organization that did something similar. He actually like walked into the cage and cut off the fight. But yeah, as one of the major MMA organizations, this is very rare. I mean, something similar used to be with Pride, where they would give you yellow and red cards for being boring. But the PFL straight up suspended their former lightweight champions. Both guys were former champions, Natan Schulte and Raush Manfio. So they will no longer participate in the playoffs. And if you guys seen this fight, I mean, these guys decided not to fight each other. That's what happened. And they both said that they're friends before. So these 2 guys were apparently like really close friends who've been training together. They lived with each other and are the godfathers of each other's children. They cut weight with each other and all that stuff. If you're going to be part of the playoffs and the tournament and stuff, and you know your friend is also participating, you got to make a decision to get out there and fight, because now you both messed up. They both did not have to participate, but they did. Schulte won the fight, and it was one of the worst fights of all time. You can't go into this fight like it's a light sparring match. If you guys haven't watched the fight, go and watch like the first couple minutes. That's how the whole fight plays out. Here is the statement of the PFL though. Quote, "Last night, Natan Schulte and Raush Manfio did not meet the standards which all PFL fighters agree to uphold in competition. All fighters in their PFL fight agreements agree to use their best efforts, skills, and ability as a professional athlete to compete and defeat any opponent. It was very clear that these 2 fighters did not meet the contractual standard in yesterday's bout," unquote. That's pretty gangster, I'm not gonna lie. I low-key like this. So I didn't know that the PFL fighters have to sign an agreement to not be boring. I know there's some fighters in other organizations that definitely need to sign that same agreement. Schulte, who was the winner of this boring fight, actually made a statement about it. He goes, quote, "I am very unsatisfied with the decision that was taken by the PFL last night to favor Shane Burgos' entry into the playoffs. You remember Francis Ngannou's fight with Derek Lewis in 2018? He didn't throw 6 punches in the whole fight, and he wasn't cut for his performance that night. So I ask you, Francis Ngannou, since you protect the rights of the fighters, do you think the decision is correct?" Unquote. So he's appealing to Francis Ngannou. And for people that forgot, Ngannou does have a position in the PFL's Global Athlete Advisory Board, so he might have a say in this kind of stuff. Who knows? And it seems like Schulte is playing conspiracy theory with, they just wanted Shane Burgos in the playoffs, and that's why they did this. I mean, who wouldn't want Shane Burgos in the playoffs after that fight? Of course I would. Every fan would. You can't go out there and just, have a back and forth patty cake match with your friend in front of an audience that are spending their time to watch this fight. They rather watch Shane Burgos. Yes, absolutely, Shane Burgos deserves to be in the playoffs because he also won, right? He's not losing either, so much rather have someone like that. And it's him and his friend's fault. If you know that you two are in the playoffs, you guys have a bracket, and you see your friend's name there, you have to know, just like in The Ultimate Fighter, you might have to fight your friend, man. We see this happen in other tournaments, and these guys don't go out there and play footsies out there. They give it their all because it's not only for their own thing. Yeah, it hurts to beat your opponent and send them packing out the tournament, but at the same time, you got to think about yourself and your family. This is $1 million on the line. If you beat your friend, he is absolutely going to understand because he needs to do the same. He needs to provide and do the best he can when he goes out there. If you could not promise your best efforts out there, I don't knock PFL's decision to suspend you from the playoffs. And other fighters also has something to say about it. Shane Burgos just saying, he's happy about being part of the playoffs. Nothing really to say about the fight in general, but the man of the PFL, the guy who's been destroying every fighter, the Canadian gangster, Olivier Aubin-Mercier, who I don't know for some reason, he's hit another level in his game. In the UFC, he was a good fighter. He always was. But he never was as good as he is now. He looks like a world beater out there. Very well-rounded, great skills all around. He has something to say about the fight, and he said that boring fight looked like it was fixed. Not by the PFL, but by the two fighters that were in it. He was saying that the fight seemed just weird. And he even asked the reporters, don't you guys think it was really weird? But he did try to clarify that, if he was fighting his best friend, it'd probably look like something like that, but it would be unfair to anybody else. He thinks that the PFL should not put two friends to fight each other in the same category, but that's how sometimes these things play out. It's a bracket. You can't really control who wins or who loses and who advances to the next guy that they fight. And it's not only up to the PFL, it's actually up to the fighters. Can't those fighters say that they don't want to be part of the same tournament or the same playoffs as their friend? Can't they say, hey, can I wait for the next one because my friend's fighting? So I don't think the PFL did really anything wrong here. It was all on the fighters. And I can understand, it's a very difficult decision, you know? If your friend's there and you're just not willing to put your best effort in beating him, if you have to fight him, either you take the chance to be part of the tournament and hope not to fight each other, but that would mean that you also hope your friend loses, or you miss on your chance of winning $1 million for that season, and you have to go and try the next whenever that happens. At the end of the day, yeah, it's not the best thing, but like, from a fan's perspective and an organization's perspective, you most likely are siding with the PFL. Who wants to tune into a fight like that?